time for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone, bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Hey, welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We have co-host Bryant Falconer in the studio today. How you doing today, Bryant?
Hey, man, I'm doing good.
So let's get right to what are we smoking?
Today, I'm smoking CL Flathead V19.
Oh, okay, that's that new.
Oh, yeah.
How
man.
you liking that?
I'm liking it. It's a medium to bold. No pepper right yet. Still in the first third of it. But it's got a good earthy taste to it. Leathery.
What's the size on that?
Box press.
It looks like about a 56, 58 box press.
It's a 58, 56. Yeah, it's a nice stick, bro.
Yeah,
nice
I like
stick.
that wrapper, man. Nice, dark, oily.
Yes, dark and oily. Tastes good, feels good. It had great construction. Ash fell off on me, but we gonna make it.
There you go. And I'm smoking a Medallia. Big surprise, right?
Hey, stay with the best.
Hey, man, it's like, you know, I keep telling everybody at the Leaf and everybody that I run into, if you want to try a cigar that just rocks my world, the Medallia is it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's that perfect go-to.
Dude, it has so many complexity changes in the profile.
It works with coffee. It works with whiskey. It works with bourbon. It's just a great go-to stick, man.
Yeah, I can't get enough of these. I'm gonna tell you right now, I really enjoy these.
Yeah.
And speaking of McAuliffe, that is our sponsor.
Yes, it is.
And you know, the funny thing is, people might think that we talk good about McAuliffe because they're our sponsor, but the fact of the matter is, if they were not our sponsor, I'd still be smoking these McAuliffe Medallias like they're going out of style.
We were talking about them before they became our sponsor.
True, yeah. You know, in fact, before they even became our sponsor, they are responsible for me being able to develop my palate with all the different profiles. How's that Scotch you're trying over
there? Baby, this is, you can taste it all.
Really?
It's got a great flavor profile, man. The cocoa, I'm liking this. What is this again?
That is James Buchanan Scotch, 18-year-old.
Oh yes, this is great, man.
See, that's your first time to have Scotch, huh? Nice.
And I'm sitting back like, wait a minute.
easy, big boy.
Very easy.
Very easy. Yeah, and I'm drinking the McAuliffe Riata.
Oh,
pecan coffee. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I got some of that yesterday. Came in finally.
Good.
And I tell you what, it was well worth the wait.
Okay.
Me and my wife have just been like in heaven. In fact, my wife made some kind of cinnamon pastry something earlier today, and it was like I couldn't wait to get that cinnamon pastry with this pecan
paired with
coffee.
that,
and then with the Medallia. Talk about heaven, man.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, yeah. So speaking of McAuliffe
again,
I see we get so lost in what we're talking about.
Hey.
So anyway, it's just an honor to have them as our sponsor because, like I was saying earlier, it was because of their cigar line with all the different profiles they offer that I actually took that journey to have my palate adapt to different types of cigars.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because, you know, I used to be just bold all the time.
Yes.
And, you know what? And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy a good bold cigar from time to time, but that's not like every cigar.
Yeah, I got you.
Because I tell you what, after doing that for so long, that just wore my palate out.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? It'd be like if you were eating Mexican food every day.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I can almost eat Mexican food every day. Don't get me wrong. But I got to change it up from tacos to enchiladas. I couldn't eat tacos every day. Right?
Every day. I hear you, man. It's just like they say, you don't know what a rich tastes like if you keep eating saltines every day.
Exactly. Oh, and we need to make one more announcement. Starting next week, we're moving to a new time slot. We'll actually be releasing the show sometime Sunday night before Monday morning. So don't think we've gone away when you don't see us come out next Saturday. We will be out Monday mornings. I've got my new schedule, so I'll be doing the editing on Sundays. So we'll be having the show come out Monday morning. So, and also we want to bring up the Cigar and Spirits Festival that's going to be at the Shack on Panther Island, October 12th. That's up in Fort Worth. And it's going to be like all these different distributors, different spirit, and also a bunch of different cigar manufacturers.
Okay.
So basically, it's going to be a big festival, and
In
we're
Fort
going to
Worth.
be there.
Yeah,
we're
gonna
actually
be
going to
there.
do a
Yeah.
show from the
Yes, sir.
event.
I'll be there.
So we want you guys to come by, say hello. We'd love to, if we're actually doing the show when you come by, man, we'll have you just sit down and get right on it, man.
That's what it's about, man. The community, bro.
Yeah.
Bringing them in.
And we love sitting down talking
yes.
to people and finding out what they're smoking, where they smoke. So anyway, we want to invite you out. Come out and see us if you get the opportunity. We'll have a link on our website for the event. So you can go by our website. It'll be the Cigar and Spirits Festival. Just follow the link. You can see, and hopefully we'll see you there. Oh, and hey, guys, we got a special guest coming up tonight. Mike from Albany, New York. He is a McAuliffe ambassador. We want to get a little history on him, find out how he got smoking, where he smokes, and what McAuliffe cigars he likes. I know I'm a big fan, and I've talked to him a little bit. I know he is, and he's got some great stories, so we'll be talking to him as well. Anyway, let's get to the meat of the show.
Yes, sir.
And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 cutters.
Come on.
Cigar cutters.
Come on.
So for me, I personally think the best cutter that's out there is the Zycar XO.
Hey, I'm there with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I carry one. I have one.
And the thing about it is, what I love about that cutter the most, okay, is that it's a double guillotine.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't rely on your skill to equally apply pressure on both sides. You can apply more pressure on one side than the other, and it doesn't matter because the gears that control the blades keep the cut even.
And it's a smooth stroke. You don't worry about cutting your cap off or tearing or ripping. It's just, I have not had a terrible cut with my XO. I haven't.
No, I agree. I think that's the best cutter. I've purchased 2 of them. I love those. I highly recommend them. And I think you can buy those anywhere in the neighborhood of about $75 to about $125, depending on which model you get.
That's correct. That is correct.
So those are great. And I know you're a big fan of the V cutter.
Yes,
Which one?
sir.
Which V cutter do you prefer?
The V cutter that I prefer is the Calibri V cutter.
And I tell you what, that thing is solid.
Yeah, I like the way you said that thing.
Well, yeah, it's like
It is.
It's a brick.
It's a brick. It's constructed perfectly for me because it fits in your hand. It's solid, but when you put your stick into
don't
it,
stick your stick in
when
something.
you put your stick in there and you press that lever, man, it gives you a perfect deep V.
And I'm not a
you're
V
not.
cut guy, but let me tell you what I do like about this cutter.
Come on.
It's a deep
Oh yes,
V cut.
it's deep, man.
I can't stand the idea of a shallow V cut. I'm like, why bother?
Yeah,
Just
that's
bite
true.
the tip off
Yes,
and go to smoking.
Go Clint Eastwood on it
Right.
and move on. Yeah,
But
I love it. That Calibri
if I
V
was
cut.
going to use one, that's the one
Yeah,
I would
yes, sir.
use
Yes,
because,
sir.
man, when you hold it in your hand, I mean, it feels like it weighs 2 pounds. It's solid.
Yes, sir.
You can tell it's great construction, good
Yes.
quality.
Yes,
And
it's a great cutter, and I truly appreciate it. It's my perfect V cutter. That's the only one I want.
Well, and that brings me up to the next cutter. And I would say, and it's not something that I use, but if you're a beginner, I think it's a great idea to have one of the perfect cutters.
Okay.
That's what they're called. And do you know what the perfect
No,
cutter
sir,
is?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so the perfect cutter is a guillotine cut, but you can't put the cigar through it.
Oh,
There's a back.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So when you put the cigar in, it won't allow you to cut the cap off.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is perfect, especially for a beginner.
For a beginner,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, you put it in there and snip it, and for some reason, if it doesn't cut enough, you can just reclip it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't allow you to cut too much off.
Good.
So for
that is perfect for a beginner.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other cutter that I really like, and it's only on certain cigars, I like to use a punch on those. And this particular cutter, if I'm going to go to a punch, I love this. It's the Zycar 11 millimeter spark plug punch.
Yeah, I'm looking at
and
that
it
now.
looks like, and what I love about it, 2 things. Here's one of the things that I hate about a punch.
Okay.
You know, most of them fit on your keychain.
Keychain, yeah.
And then which part of the cutter is not on the keychain? The cutter.
yeah.
And which part do you always lose? The cutter.
Yeah.
So when you have this, it just twists. That spark plug, like where you have that
okay.
twist, and the punch actually twists out.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's
that.
fantastic. And it's 11 millimeters, so you're getting a really large
punch.
cut.
Yeah.
Right. So That's number 4 on the list. So I'm going to let you top it off with number 5. Oh, let me just say that Zycar Spark Plug Punch comes in like a chrome blue, like it looks like a regular spark plug, and then the other one is red and black.
Yeah, I saw the
which
red
I
and
go
black
for,
one.
you know,
Yeah.
guns up, Red Raiders.
Yeah, Mr. Lovett.
had to get that in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My number 5 would be the Blinking Cigar Cutter, and it's a guillotine cutter, but it's stainless steel and it's not pricey.
Like, what's the price point on it?
You're going anywhere from $5 to $15.
And you know what? That's a great cutter
That's a
too,
great cutter.
especially when you're traveling. Yeah. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. But I have lost an XO cutter.
Oh my!
And you know,
hey, and I can't say anything because you remember I lost mine, and I was petrified for a while.
And you know, the bad thing for me is a lot of times when I'm going to hang out at the lounge, I'm dressed comfortable. I'm in my khaki long shorts, and these big pockets.
Yes,
your Zycar XO's round. It just rolls right out into the cushion. So anyway, I've lost one of those, so I don't travel with my XO that I have left.
Okay,
and so a $5 to $15 cutter. That's a great
travel cutter. Yeah. And that's what I look at it. And then it's stainless steel. It's not plastic. It's something that's sturdy, good construction. You can keep with you. And like I said, the same thing you said. It's great for travel. If I lose it, I'm not upset about that.
Right.
I'm not upset. Versus $80, $90 losing my Zycar.
Yeah. Trust me. I know.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's funny that you mentioned the plastic cutters is I was talking to Paul from the 5150. And he actually had an Oliva cutter that was the hard plastic.
Yeah.
And it split right down the middle. Now, he used it for about a year.
Okay.
And he got it for free.
Yeah.
So, you know, he can't complain too much. Yeah. But those plastic cutters are not made to last forever.
No, they're not forever.
To where the Zycar XO and those all-metal cutters, they'll last you a lifetime.
Tell the truth.
As long as you keep up with them.
Tell the truth. You say as long as you keep up with them.
Right. So, anyway, guys, that's our top 5 cutters. If you have different cutters that you would recommend. Now, I will say, before we move on, there is a cutter that I've been seeing around Instagram, and it's from Italy, I believe, and I don't remember the name of it. It's like Lisum or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, it looks like a pocket knife, but but there's like a groove the shape of a cigar that you would stick your cigar in the side and then lower the blade down to make the cut.
True guillotine.
And you know what? It's a beautiful cutter.
Okay.
And I checked on them, and I think the price starts at like $450.
Oh, I'm done then.
Yeah, and I was like, because when I first saw them, I was like, "That's a beautiful cutter." Ooh. And then I was like, "I'm gonna go check them out," and I was like, "Ooh, $430? I don't think so." Ooh. So I would love, hey, if you represent that company and you want to throw us one, we'd love to have one. So anyway, let's move on to Cigar Rights of America. We haven't talked about them in a few weeks.
But they've been working, man.
Yeah. You know what? There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And I tell you what, I was reading an article. I think I said something about it a few weeks ago, but Glenn Loop reported from Cigar Rights of America that they have passed the graphics on the cigar boxes, and you know they're going to put all kinds of horrific images so that we don't want to smoke cigars or whatever. It's not going to be effective.
Not at all.
It's just basically ruining the art that goes into creating those beautiful boxes.
And that's all it is. That's all it's doing. Because it's not going to stop me. It's not.
Teenagers are not walking into the cigar shop buying boxes of cigars.
And I explain this. That will draw them to it because teenagers, that's something fun to them. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Now you've highlighted that box.
You've made it taboo even more. Yeah, so my thought process is, how many teenagers do you know that can afford a box of cigars? Not very many.
Not that many.
Yeah, you know, I sure couldn't have. So anyway, definitely go by, and we'll have a link on the website for Cigar Rights of America. And you got to support them, man. They protect our community. They protect our rights. And if we all stand together as one, I mean, I'm amazed that when I talk to people and I say, hey, are you a member of Cigar Rights of America? And they say no. I'm like, why? Because first of all, it's $25, and they send you 2 premium cigars. They send you your membership card. You got yours right there in your keychain.
Yes, on my keychain.
I've got mine in my wallet. So I mean, everywhere I go, I carry it.
Yes, sir.
And I promote it everywhere I go because I feel that it's very important for all of us to protect our rights as one.
It's vital. You know, it's the same. It's that saying. If you don't stand up and have a voice for it, when they do things to us, I don't want to hear you talking. I don't.
Well, that's how I am at the cigar shop. When I hear people complaining about what the government's doing,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, are you a member? And they're like, no. I'm like, nah.
Next
Hey,
conversation.
Yeah, it's like, you don't care enough, and I don't want to listen to you complain.
Because all you're doing is complaining.
Right. And the thing about it is, I know I'm a member. I know I've sent letters to my senators. There's really nothing left for me to complain about.
Nope.
I've put it in their court.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You've done your part.
And right. And I keep doing my part because I keep sending letters to my senator.
And I keep speaking about it to people too, because it needs to. People need to understand it. They need to know. If we don't talk about it, it's going to stay. It's word of mouth. I tell somebody, you tell somebody else, and it keeps going around. If we stop talking about it, then people don't know, and then they're allowed to do or able to do what they want to do.
Absolutely.
And that's not what it's about. It's
Right.
not. This is my right. I enjoy a good stick. I'm not going to smoke a stick and go out there and do nothing stupid. It's going to have me sitting back at home or sitting around the brick and mortar or sitting with Rob, chilling, thinking about just enjoying the rest of my day. Come on, man. Leave it alone.
It's a no-brainer.
I want to be with Schwarzenegger. I want to walk in behind him. I want to walk in right behind him when he goes in there talking about that stuff, man.
Yeah, he turns around and says, I'll be back.
And I was like, I'm coming with him.
Coming up after the break
Yes,
with
sir.
the interview, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for hanging through the break with us. We have Mike Cardis on the line from Albany, New York. He is a McAuliffe ambassador, and he's got a lot of great stories. He's got a great selection of cigars. He smokes pipes. And anyway, we got him on the line. How you doing tonight, Mike?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, man.
Absolutely no problem. I was looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Well, we actually chatted a little bit before we started the show, and we were actually talking about some different cigars. So tell us how you actually got started in cigars, Mike.
Well, let's take us back to 1996.
Wow, you're old.
Yes, I am. I'm 1 foot in the grave.
Right.
It was my 19th birthday, and I was walking through the mall with nothing else to do, and, by myself, and I decided I was going to get myself a cigar. Never had a cigar before, so I stopped in this little smoke shop that was up here at the Colony Center at the time.
Now, was that in the mall?
Yep, it was in the mall.
Isn't that hilarious that you could get cigars at the mall back then?
Oh yeah. Not only could you get a cigar in the mall back then, but he actually still had a smoking lounge in the back of the cigar shop in the mall.
There's nothing like the old days.
That's right. So I went in knowing absolutely nothing, and I could tell you exactly what it was like in the cigar shop. I loved the way it smelled. I loved everything about it. And I was talking to the guy that was behind the counter, and he says, do you know what you're looking for? And I says, nobody really ever wants to ask for help,
Right.
So I says, no, I'll be okay. And then a couple minutes later, he goes, can I suggest something? I said, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never had a cigar before. And he said, well, let me give you a few pointers. And they had their own house line of cigars. So I got the cigar, and I got a cutter, and he showed me how to cut it and everything. And my parents were dead set against, my parents had quit smoking cigarettes. They were dead set against anybody smoking anything, so I figured I'll roll the windows down in the truck, and I'll smoke this cigar on the way home.
And no one will know.
And yeah, nobody will know, because you never can tell when a guy just had a cigar.
Right.
This was before the days of Febreze.
Right.
I had the window down about a couple inches in the truck, and I'm driving home. It wasn't even my truck; it was my father's truck.
Oh, wow.
And,
so you're smoking
yeah.
a cigar in your dad's truck with the window cracked 2 inches.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly what I would call an intelligent youth. And I'll never forget. My dad always kept his truck meticulous. And I'm driving down the road, and I see this. I got this nice long ash going, and it fell between my legs onto the seat, and it burned this giant hole in the seat of my father's truck. So me trying to, cover up the damage, went to Walmart, which we had just gotten here in upstate New York. Walmart was a new thing to us. Went to Walmart and bought this cool knocked out seat cover for my dad's truck. Was going to surprise him with this seat cover. Well, my dad was a lot smarter than I was and knew,
Yeah, yeah.
So he let it go for a little bit, and then he lifted up his seat cover, and then he looked at me and he goes, "How was that cigar?" And I says, "Well, what cigar?" And he goes, "Yeah, okay." So, but that was my very first cigar I ever had.
That's hilarious, man.
It was one of their cognac infused, their own line that they had at the cigar shop at the time. And I loved it. And, every couple weeks after that or so, I'd stop up and pick up a few sticks of this and that, kind of branched out. And that was when Macanudos were it. Everybody smoked Macanudo.
Oh,
cigar.
yeah. Back in the day, that was the name.
And that was my thing. I was a Macanudo Maduro smoker for a long time. And then, my life kind of changed, and some of the people I hung out with kind of changed, and I kind of got away from smoking cigars for quite a while. I'd have one at a wedding or a special occasion or something like that. And then a couple years ago, I started smoking a pipe, kind of as a way to quit smoking cigarettes, which I did do. And then a few friends of mine that I had met in the pipe and cigar group I'm in sent me a few cigars in the mail, and I lit one up and was like, wow, I really miss this. So then I went to my local tobacco shop and started, looking at cigars again, and realized how long it had been since I had had a cigar, because I didn't recognize a darn thing of what I was looking at.
Right.
I was like, I remember Macanudos, but I don't remember any of these brands. Of course there was ones I had seen before, but, I still didn't really, know the difference between a Nicaraguan or a this or a that or a Connecticut or a whatever. I just bought cigars at the time when a couple years ago, I say a couple years ago, about 7 years ago, when, this one's band looks cool.
Right, right.
But I think kind of that's how everybody really cuts their teeth in it. Nobody is born knowing,
Yeah, unless you have a really good friend who's a cigar aficionado who teaches you. We all kind of go through that little journey, and you learn by going through the pitfalls. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's like anything else. You learn by your mistakes, and not only that, you learn that your palate changes over time too. What you may have liked 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, or 20 years ago, or even to some points 2 or 3 weeks ago, you may have just been in the mood for that particular cigar on that particular day.
Absolutely.
And you go back to it and you're like, well, this was great the first time, but I don't know if I'll have a third,
Yeah, I can think of it like 6-7 years ago, some cigars I smoked then. I can't stand those cigars now.
Oh, I tried. I remember when I was a very new cigar smoker, I was in a drugstore and I says, "Oh, I'll try some of these." And I don't remember if they were Dutch Masters or William Penns, or it was enough that I remembered to not buy cigars at a drugstore again.
Yeah, right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. If guys like them, good for them. But
hey, yeah, right. I mean, there's something for everybody, and if that's your thing,
absolutely,
knock yourself out. So let me ask you about this. How long have you been a McAuliffe ambassador?
I believe I became a McAuliffe ambassador somewhere around the beginning of end of June, beginning of July, somewhere in there.
Well, let me ask you this, because, we always joke about it on the show. What's your number?
1320.
1320. See, and it's so funny. I tell people who listen to the show, you got to become an ambassador. You get your own coin. You get your own number. And it's funny because once you get your number, you know that number always.
You really know it if you're not something that stands out.
Right.
And you make sure you have your coin when you're on Cigar Talk too.
Exactly. So what's funny is
I've looked at it enough now that
well, mine's 298, and my co-host Bryant is 156, so he likes to give me shit all the time because he's lower than me.
Oh, well, there's always going to be that guy.
Exactly. So, all right, well, I had a couple of questions for you. How long have you been a butcher?
25 years.
25 years, wow. So you started when you were, what, 18?
In high school.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I started, I can remember the first time I ever wanted to do that, too. My dad grew up, in the construction business, and my mother and father were always big, you're going to go to college. You're not going to work your butt off for your whole life. You're going to, you're going to make something of yourself and all that. But the first time I ever walked into a real butcher block meat room, I knew that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I mean,
wow, that is cool, man. That is cool.
I have two very close they're not relatives by blood, but they're relatives. And I can remember, watching them work, and the smell of the meat room, that coppery smell, and the sawdust on the floor, and it just hooked me. And I got a job as an apprentice, and back then an apprentice was a rough and tumble way to learn a trade. There is no school to become a butcher even to this day. I mean, there's colleges that have basic meat cutting schools, and there is a butcher school of sorts. There's one up here, and then there's one out west. But there's really only one way to learn how to become a butcher, and that's through the apprenticeship, through training and on the job training. And it's one of those jobs that to this day is school of hard knocks. Knocks you.
Yeah, I love that, man. And the thing about it is, I don't know how it is up in New York, but like in Texas, we really don't have a lot of places that have butchers anymore. They have places that, of course they cut the meat back in the grocery store. But I mean, when you talk about a butcher, we actually have like scattered out, different places, some butcher shops, and that's where the real butchers are. You know what I mean?
Yep. There's always a sense of pride, and even on some of the butcher forums I'm in on Facebook and whatever, there's quite a bit of trash talking that goes back and forth between guys that know how to take a standing animal and properly, humanely slaughter it and break it, and to the old days of cutting hanging beef and full pork and even poultry to that extent. The term box jockey is thrown around a lot for supermarket butchers, what a lot of guys like to call meat cutters.
Okay.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a meat cutter. It's still a skilled trade. There's still an apprenticeship to it. There's, the learning curve isn't quite as long. Personally, I can do both. I do also custom slaughter, mobile butchery, and I also work at a supermarket up here. I'm a meat manager for ShopRite supermarkets here in the Northeast, and we're a pretty large grocery chain. We've got well over 200 stores now, but we, as a company, cut more meat than I would say probably any other 3 grocery chains do total.
Wow.
ShopRite prides itself on the meat department being part of the backbone of the store. We cut absolutely, if we can cut it in-house, we do, whether it's shortloins for porterhouse, right down to hand-cut chicken cutlets every day. We do it all.
We, as a fan of the butcher, we're going to guess like you're eating T-bone steaks at home every night.
No. It's not always the case. It's one of those things, like any other trade. The painter's house is never painted. The carpenter's house is never finished. The mechanic's car is always barely running.
Please don't tell me you're a vegetarian.
What?
I said, please tell me you're not a vegetarian.
That's a dirty word in my house.
All right, thank you. Well, in Texas, it's pretty close.
I'll be honest, we probably, as a family, my wife and myself, probably eat more beef than quite a few people. Pork, too.
You'd fit right in Texas, man.
Don't you guys have couches made out of whole cows down there?
Absolutely.
I thought so.
Some couches are made out of 2 cows because they're so big.
You're probably sitting on one right now.
No, I'm actually sitting in a nice handcrafted wood chair built in 1934.
Now, see? That's class.
It's like, you know what? They don't build them like they used to.
I'm sitting on a plastic extruded resin chair made before I bought it at the yard sale.
Right. So let me ask you this. You were talking earlier about a McAuliffe meet and greet. Tell us about when that's going to be, where it's going to be, and a little more detail about that.
Okay. The McAuliffe meet and greet is going to be September 16th, which is a Monday, from 6 to 9 at Queensberry Pipe and Cigar in Queensberry. It's a fantastic venue. It basically reminds you of a old-fashioned Adirondack log cabin.
Oh, nice.
Made into a fantastic cigar lounge with a huge humidor, fantastic coffee shop inside, beautiful deck. Kathleen Kelly's the owner. She's owned it for forever. She puts her heart and soul in the business. I urge you guys to check out Queensberry Cigar and Pipe and QueensberryCigarandPipe.com, and also it's Cup of Joe's, CUPOJOES.com. It's that's their online business. Basically, she she runs a fantastic operation up there.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I'll tell you what, I love cigar shops that have great coffee because, I enjoy having a bourbon with my cigar. I've just started learning more about the Scotch with my cigars, but I'm not drinking every day. So when I go to the cigar shop, man, I love a great cup of coffee to pair it up with.
Well, here's the even better part. She has her own line of coffee.
Oh, no kidding.
Kathleen's coffee is absolutely fantastic. I really recommend if you guys get a chance. It also is available on her website. Try any of her coffees. I personally love that the entire Dead Man's line she has is absolutely fantastic. You can't go wrong with any of it.
I'll definitely check that out because, man, me and my wife, we order coffee from all over, grind it up, brew it up, and I'm right now I'm drinking some amazing coffee. Actually, it's from Al McAuliffe's restaurant in Fort Worth, from the Riata restaurant, and It is a Texas pecan medium roast coffee. Oh, it's amazing, and it pairs up great with cigars.
I'm actually drinking a cup of coffee myself, and it's from a local coffee company up here as well. You guys have probably heard of Death Wish Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You ever heard of the guitarist Zakk Wylde?
Yeah, absolutely.
From Black Label Society. He has his own line of Death Wish Coffee called Valhalla Java Odin Force.
Is it pretty bold?
Oh, and then some.
Oh, nice.
It's a great brew. It's strong, but it's not overpowering. It's not bitter, and it'll get you where you need to be. You don't need to drink a lot of this stuff. I could drink it every day, all day, but I drink it when I'm having a cigar here and there. If I'm getting up real early to go on an ice fishing trip or a hunting trip, something like that, something to get you up and get you going. Valhalla Java Odin Force is definitely a fantastic blend.
What's funny is I've only been drinking coffee for about maybe 2.5 years. And
what?
I've only been drinking coffee for about 2.5 years. My wife was always a coffee drinker, and she was always like, oh, you need to try this. And I was like, I don't like hot drinks, so I don't drink coffee. And one day she was drinking some coffee, and I was smoking a cigar, and I was like, that smells really good, so let me try it. Dude, it paired up so good with my cigar. I've been hooked on coffee ever since.
Well, I can tell you this. Butchers drink more coffee than what's his name there? Juan Valdez has beans.
Oh, that's funny.
Butchers run on coffee.
Right.
I do drink way too more coffee than I probably should, but
I'm with you. And now and it's funny because whenever I started drinking coffee, I didn't start with like coffee and cream and sugar. I just started full black coffee. And yeah. And so that's the way I've always drank it. I've never put anything in my coffee. And so every morning I get up, I make a pot of coffee, I grind the beans, and my wife wakes up to great smelling coffee. And that's our daily routine.
Last thing I do before I go to bed is fill the coffee maker and set the timer.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, you're a little more advanced than me. I don't have a fancy coffee maker that does the timer. I have to do it myself.
Oh, no, mine's got trust me, mine's $29. I think it's a Mr. Coffee or whatever, but it's got the delay brew, and there is nothing better than getting up in the morning and not having to wait for the coffee.
Very nice, yes.
When I say I drink a lot of coffee, we have a regular coffee pot on the counter. We have a Keurig machine on the counter, and I've also got an espresso maker in case things get real bad.
Nice. You know what? I've been looking at espresso makers myself, and it's funny that you say that because we have some coffee, a big coffee pot maker that makes, lots of coffee. I don't even know the name of it. But then right next to it, we have the Keurig, because if I'm not making coffee, my wife drinks that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking, you know what I need is a cappuccino machine. And I told my wife that today, and she's like, I don't want a cappuccino machine in the kitchen.
That's like work.
Well, I told her, I said, you don't have to put it in the kitchen. I'll put it in my cigar lounge outside.
There you go.
So, whenever I want cappuccino, I can have it. So,
well, I'll make a suggestion. My buddy, Darren, who I go fishing with all the time, has one of those Ninja coffee makers that does like all 37 things. It makes coffee and does Keurig and makes cappuccinos, and I think it's working on the national debt too. I'm not really sure, but he's pretty enthused with that thing. But for us, it would just take up entirely too much counter space, and I think my wife might hurt me if I tell her we need another coffee machine in the house.
I understand, but find out which one he has, because I've seen those Ninjas, and I've actually been looking into those, so I'd love to know which one he has.
I will. I'll find out for you.
Awesome. Hey, so tell us about the tobacco group that you belong to, Briar Nation.
Okay. Briar Nation was started by Jeremy Feliciano. He's in the Navy. We call him a skipper. And it's, if I'm being a little, I don't know, selfish here, I personally think it's the best pipe and cigar group that there is on Facebook. It was started by a group of veterans. There's a fantastic admin team. It's not just all about pipes. It's not just all about cigars. It's a little of both. I thoroughly encourage everyone that would be interested to look up Briar Nation and, join.
Yeah, and I'll add a link on the website, so it'll take you straight to their page. So if you're interested in joining up, they can take a look at it and see what they want to do, man. We do a lot for Jeremy does a lot, and some of the other admins and guys on the group do a lot for raising money for veterans benefits, veterans affairs, Wounded Warrior Project, local veterans stuff. A couple years ago, we did a box stuffer. We always do one of our guys in the group, Joe. He does a big Toys for Tots deal every year. But we've got everybody in the group, from guys that only smoke Opus X's to guys that smoke only backwoods cigars, guys that only smoke Lane 1Q aromatic tobacco, to guys that only smoke the best of Esoterica. It's a great group of guys from every genre of type of person in the entire world. I mean, we've got members from Japan, Germany, India, the U.S., just everywhere. I mean, it's a great group of guys. Isn't that one of the cool things about the internet is you can have a community and they can be spread out all over the world?
Absolutely. When I first started smoking a pipe and things like that, and I joined Briar Nation, the camaraderie in this group and the brotherhood and sisterhood that it is, and that it's continued to become, guys are constantly sending, oh yeah, you like that? You never had one of these cigars? Here, I'll send you one to try one. And vice versa. You get something and you send it to somebody, or, as a gift or a trade or what have you, and the amount of experience and knowledge that's in this group overall when it comes to cigars, pipes, even right down to chewing tobacco, or the old-fashioned powdered snuff, it's just extraordinary.
And it's funny that you say the old-fashioned powdered stuff. My dad actually used to dip that stuff. And it's like, I don't know how you do it, but I know he did that for years.
Oh, it's easy.
You've had experience.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. And, that's one of the things I love about groups that are centered around tobacco is because, like we were talking about earlier, when you first go into a tobacco shop, you don't really know anything and you kind of feel intimidated. And so you don't ask for help and you don't ask questions. What a great opportunity to learn from these guys who have all this experience so that you can actually grow into the community a lot faster and skip some of the pitfalls that we went through.
Absolutely. And, let's face it, no matter what state you're in, New York up here, our tobacco tax on cigars and pipe tobacco is a glorious 75% luxury tax. In this day and age, not too many people I know are independently wealthy. So you can save yourself a considerable chunk of money too by just asking some questions and learning some things based off of what you already have and know. You can say, look, I had this Connecticut or this whatever, and I really didn't care for it because it's very this note or that note, or I didn't care for this about it. And, guys will say, hey, well, it sounds like you're more geared towards a Nicaraguan or even a Maduro or something along those lines. Try one of those and see where you're at versus it having to go through 8, 10, 12 cigars before you hit that one that you like.
Oh, yeah. And I know that I've gone through tons of cigars that I don't like. And so, like when I go into the humidor at my local B&M, it's the Leaf here in Abilene. But anyway, when I go in there, it's like I can't say I've smoked the whole humidor, but I've smoked probably 80% of it. And so I know exactly where I'm going when I want to go in there. And so I smoked a lot of cigars I didn't like to find the selections that I do like.
And that's the thing too. I mean, you get guys that have had, and girls that have tried a cigar or two, and unfortunately they got something that's not, to their taste or their liking. And because they don't have any information to start out with, they buy a cheap stick or something that's poorly constructed, and they don't have a good smoking experience with it overall or at all, and they say, well, I just don't like cigars.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. That's what comes with having some people that you can rely on, particularly myself, when I first started smoking a pipe and cigars again, is you've got people that you can reach out to via Facebook groups, even more sometimes than your local tobacconist, because your local tobacconist may really like a cigar that you don't like at all, but he sells it to you because he thinks it's good.
Right.
So you've got a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of people to reach out to, and that are 99.9% of the time generally friendly folks.
Oh yeah.
They're willing to help, willing to take some time with you and spend some time with you, and that's where Briar Nation really excels. Guys they don't look down on somebody because they like to smoke quorums or they like to smoke a factory second sweet. Because if that's what you like, that's what you like, and that's great.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because we just recently lost one of our brothers of the leaf. He was 71 years old. He passed away a few weeks ago. And I tell you what, we loved him. His name was Fred, and he would come in the shop every day at 5:30, and he would buy a house blend cigar that was $2.31. And that's what he smoked every single day. And you know what?
And God bless him for it.
And nobody cared. It's like, and I tell everybody, the cigar is only a small portion of the community. This is the most open community that I've ever been a part of, and that's what makes it special, is that people don't really judge you for what you're smoking. And it's like we were talking earlier, I'm not a fan of acid cigars at all, but if that's what you want to smoke, man, have at it.
There's a guy that goes into tobacco shops that I go to, Super Dave is his nickname, and he likes Trader Jack's. He smokes Trader Jack's all the time.
Oh, dude, have you smelled the Trader Jack?
I have. I've smoked them.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I like them on occasion.
No way.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, when they have them at our shop, and they're in one of these airtight canisters, and whenever you open up that canister, you just get this smell that just almost knocks me down. It is so strong. But I've never smoked one.
I have, and on occasion I will again.
Wow.
Yeah. Every once in a while I'll get a hankering for a Trader Jack or even a Backwoods from time to time.
Hey, my co-host started on a Backwoods.
Everybody in their life at one point or another smoked a Backwoods cigar.
He said he used to get them when he was, I think, 19 at the convenience store.
Backwoods are big up here in convenience store cigars. And it's like you said, it's all about finding what you like and maybe branching out here or there to try something new. And you never know. You might find something that you really like, or you might decide that you like what you like, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, so I wanted to ask you another question. So you've been a McAuliffe ambassador. Which McAuliffe cigar have you enjoyed the most, would you say?
I would say the Grande Bold Maduro is my go-to.
That's a great stick. In fact, that's one of the first McAuliffes that I ever smoked.
It's the first McAuliffe I ever smoked, and I still continue to go back to it, and I will from here on out. I think it's a fantastic smoke, and one thing about McAuliffe that I really, really like is the product quality and consistency from stick to stick versus some or most of the big name cigar companies that are out there.
Right.
From stick to stick versus almost any other cigar company that's out there, when you buy a McAuliffe, you're going to get a good stick.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. On our last show, we did like the top 10 tips for cigars, and the number one was the quality of the construction. And that goes a long ways, because the worst thing you can do is spend, anywhere from $5 to $20 on a cigar, and the construction sucks and it ruins the experience of the cigar.
Here's kind of the way I look at it. About 4 or 5 months ago, I rediscovered the Punch Diablo line, and I had bought a few of them. Pretty much every time I went to my B&M, if I was hanging out for a while, I'd grab a Punch Diablo, fire it up, and I really thoroughly enjoyed them. And then the other day I went and I got one, and it really wasn't that great. It was nowhere near as good as some of the other ones I've had. As a matter of fact, it burned pretty bad, and the flavor profile was totally different and all over the board. And that's the difference for me when I look to buy a cigar, is that if I buy a cigar and it's good, regardless of the price point, chances are I'll probably buy another one.
Right.
And if that one's as good, I'll probably buy a third. But if the third one is nowhere near like the first two, I'm probably not going to buy another one. But if there is a cigar that, like, for instance, I'm just saying a McAuliffe, which I've been thoroughly impressed with up to this point, that even if it's a few dollars more per stick, if it's consistent and great from stick to stick to stick throughout the line, I'm going to continue to buy that cigar with confidence that it's going to be great. And I'm going to have faith that if I give one of those cigars to a friend of mine that's a seasoned cigar smoker, that they're going to get the same good smoking experience that I am, which is unfortunately in today's cigar world of everybody and their brother coming out with the latest and greatest cigar. That's not a consistent reality in the market these days.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's not like they're focused on quality. You know what I mean? It's like everybody wants to come out with their special blend. Let's get the quality down before we start coming out with all these blends. And
well, exactly.
I was talking to a good friend of the show, Paul, that does the 5150 tour, and he was telling me that he bought a box of, I think it was the Aquitaine from Romacraft, and he bought a box. Well, actually, he didn't buy a box. He bought a bundle of 20, and out of 20 cigars, 7 of them were no good.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you were a baseball player, you'd barely make the Hall of Fame with that.
Right? Well, you know, the bad thing is a year ago, we were all over Romacraft because, and the reason that we loved them was because their construction was perfect every time. And I get, you know, if you get a box of cigars, I'm not even going to be upset if I get one cigar that is plugged or comes unraveled, because I'm going to give you that one. But 7 out of 20, man, that's a big percentage of your bundle right there.
Look at it this way. If that percentage of your car was damaged, you total it out.
Right.
If that percentage of you was dead, they'd pull the plug.
Absolutely, man.
And that's, for me, and I'm only speaking for myself here, that's the biggest problem I have with some of the larger cigar makers nowadays, is that the consistency is all over the board.
Right.
And I totally understand that tobacco is a living, breathing thing. Coming from a butcher standpoint, where every cow is different, every pig is different, I understand that. It's a living, breathing thing. And someone has to put their hands on that to create that product. So there is going to be some discrepancy there. But unfortunately, in some cigar companies nowadays, there's a wild discrepancy. From even in the same box, from one cigar is fantastic and the next is absolutely horrible.
Right. And let me tell you this, I've been smoking McAuliffe cigars probably since about mid-February. And so what is that? We're in September now, so 6-7 months, somewhere in there. And in that time frame, I think I've smoked in the neighborhood of around 120 to 140 McAuliffe cigars so far, but I think it speaks volumes to their quality control. I have not had one cigar that I had an issue with. I can
totally agree with you there.
So if you're talking about out of 140 cigars, that's amazing.
It speaks volumes to the quality that they put into their product and into their blends.
Well, I think it starts at the top. It's a focus on supplying the best possible cigar for the consumer. And I think when you set the expectations, I imagine, and I don't know this, but I'm just imagining at their tobacco factory that when they see cigars that don't make the cut, they throw them out. They don't send them in the package and say, oh, well, what's the difference if we include 5 or 6 of these in every 10 or 15, 20 cigars? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's one of the reasons that I am so much of a supporter of the McAuliffe brand, is just because they are over the top about construction. And for me, that's the number one thing. I can even smoke a cigar that I don't think is just delicious, but if the construction's good, I'll still enjoy it because it was a good smoke. Now, you throw in great blending, great tobacco, man, you've hit a home run for me.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. I had the Nicaragua last week, and it not only was the flavor profile fantastic, the draw was fantastic, and that's one of my pet peeves with a cigar, is that I cannot stand a cigar with a super tight draw.
Oh, you're right there with me, brother. If you have a tight draw on a cigar, I'm probably going to throw it away. My wife even gave me this advice once. She knew I was frustrated because the cigar was too tight, and I was bitching about it. And she was like, life's too short. Throw it away. Start another one. And I was like, that's a good wife right there.
Absolutely. You know, I get it with some cigars. You got to, you know, with me, I've always got a pipe tool handy, so it's got the little poker on it. I can step in there and open it up a little bit. But if I've got to continually do that with a cigar, it just becomes annoying and takes away from the entire smoking experience.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, the second thing is a tunnel burn. So number one is a too tight of a draw. Number two for me is a tunnel burn. Oh, it just drives me crazy.
Whenever I have a cigar with a really tight draw on it, it always seems like it's going to burn all cockeyed too, which kind of would make sense. But it for me, enjoying a cigar or enjoying a pipe or whatever is about being able to relax. And if I'm getting aggravated and not being able to relax,
it takes all the pleasure out of it.
Exactly. I may as well be back to smoking William Penn again. Across the McAuliffe line, I don't think you can find, out of any of them, whatever your palate is, whatever your preference is, that aren't consistent cigar to cigar, from box to box, whether it's the smoking experience, the flavor profile, the burn, anything that isn't consistent across the board. And that speaks volumes to quality control.
Well, I'm going to give you some advice, brother to brother, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had the Medallia?
I have not.
That is the cigar you got to try. Man, that cigar will blow your skirt up. It is amazing from beginning to end. Right now, I've been on a kick for those for probably almost 2 months. And I'm thinking right now I probably smoke at least one a day. The other day I was at the shop and my buddy Paul was like, "You're smoking another one of those? That's your third one." And I was like, "No, that's my fourth one." So if you get an opportunity, and let me know if they have those at your local shop or not. And if they don't, man, I'll send you a couple because I really want you to try these.
There's actually, that's why one of the reasons why we're having this meet and greet is there's not a McAuliffe distributor or shop that carries them yet up here in upstate New York.
Okay.
Unless you go way out on the southern tier like Buffalo or that area, unless something has changed very, very recently. But, you know, that's why I've had a very hard time backing things that I haven't experienced myself.
Right.
I've got to, I'm just kind of built that way. I'm not one that believes in the latest and greatest of anything just because somebody else told me so. And I don't stick my certificate of approval, if you will, on something that I haven't experienced or enjoyed myself. And that's across the board, because I'm a big hunter and fisherman as well. And every year I see, you know, an Outdoor Life magazine and all this stuff. Oh, you know, the latest camo or this or that or whatever. And I don't buy into it. And I do the same thing with my pipe tobacco and cigars as well. You know, you see advertisements for the new such and such by this guy or that guy in a cigar line. And I'll be honest, most of the time I'm disappointed.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I don't, you know, I have one and I'm like, you know, it was a decent smoke, but was it, you know, mind blowing? No. And that's the difference that I've found with McAuliffe cigars is that between the construction, the tobacco quality, the burn, the draw across the board is top notch. And from the amount of them that I've had myself, I've yet to have a bad one. I mean, I say it all the time, but that speaks volumes to where it all begins, with the sourcing of the tobacco, the consistency and quality, and that goes right on to, Al himself and everybody else setting the bar high and maintaining it, because you can go to, it happens with restaurants too. You can go to a steakhouse and have a fantastic steak, and 6 months later go back to that steakhouse and it's nowhere near as good. And 6 months later, that steakhouse is closed because they set the bar high, but they don't maintain it.
Right.
That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Across the whole line. I mean, look at the awards that they've won. The ratings, 95, 93, 92, 96,
Oh, I
92.
know, man.
The whole line.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really, and I don't want to jinx it, okay? But I really, because I love this cigar so much, I am very, I'm hoping, and I'm really thinking that maybe the Medallia is going to be in the top 25. And I tell you what, it's amazing. It has a 4-year-old San Andreas Habano wrapper. It has a 4-year-old Sumatra binder, and then the filler is 4-year-old Nicaraguan and Dominican. So, I mean, you're getting a complete 4-year-old aged cigar, and dude, it is lights out. And the Corona Extra, which is 6.5 inches long, I believe, is only, here in Texas, it's only $9.
That's the difference between a McAuliffe and, I don't want to throw cigar companies' names out there because people have their own,
sure,
their own that they like, and I don't want to sound like I'm trashing them, but I'm a huge fan of the Drew Estate Undercrown. There's a lot of Drew Estate cigars I don't care for, and there's some that I really like. But if it was a toss-up between an Undercrown and a McAuliffe, they're both in the same ballpark with price point. A lot of it is going to have to do with what I feel like having that day. But second of all is going to have to do with the fact that of the last 20 Undercrowns I've bought, at least 4 of them I've had to fuss with and fiddle with because it had a tight draw or it didn't burn, or I had one that wouldn't stay lit. It was like the only inflammable cigar I've ever had in my entire life. It would not stay lit.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I do like the Undercrown, and the Undercrown that I like is the Maduro Flying Pig. Have you had one of those?
I keep hearing about them. I have not had one yet. I usually just like the either the Underground Corona or the Toro. I believe it's Toro. I'm kind of I don't know, a stick in the mud when it comes to that. I find a cigar that I like, and I have a tendency to stick with it, and I usually have a tendency to stick with it to the fact that if they don't have one in the size that I like, I probably won't buy one in a different size.
I got you.
Why I'm that way, I don't know. I guess just because I'm weird.
You're old. You're old and stubborn.
Wait a minute, old and stubborn. Are you older than me?
I am older than you, and I'm very stubborn. Hey, Matt, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you one thing. I heard this rumor about you, and it's something that I hadn't brought up to you yet, but I heard a rumor that you were into tractor pulls.
There may be some truth to that rumor.
Well, what's funny is I used to go to tractor pulls back before they got crazy. You remember, I'm older than you, but back in the 70s is whenever I started going to tractor pulls. We actually had a family reunion in this small little town, and every year we actually had our reunion at this state park the same time that they had these tractor pulls. And these tractor pulls were not like we have today. These were just, tractors that were modified, but not crazy modified.
They were pretty much what guys were using on the farm and could afford to put a few extra parts on.
Right.
Of course, back when you went to them, they probably still used mules.
Yeah, they had mule and 40 acres to plow. I saw some pictures actually, and it looked like some pretty impressive tractor pull equipment that you guys were working on.
Tractor pulls up here at the county fairs they're big things. They have tractor pulls, truck pulls. Up here we have the local Lebanon Valley Speedway, which is that's a big deal. We have Lebanon Valley Speedway and Dragway. So there's drag racing and regular dirt track racing and modified racing. They also have the monster trucks, Monster Jam over there all the time, tractor pulls. And I don't think you can find a kid that grew up where I did which is a little south of Albany here, more out towards the country, that at least hadn't been to Lebanon Valley with your parents and gone deaf on a Friday night at least once.
And let me tell you, in the 70s, we didn't have earplugs.
Oh, and when I grew up, you didn't have helmets or
Right.
D-pad. We didn't have any of that.
Right.
You know, we had, if you didn't leave the house in the morning and not come back till nighttime, and make something to do for yourself, your parents found something for you to do, and I guarantee you, whatever they
It wasn't near
found
as fun.
wasn't going to be nearly as fun. I mean, you got on your bike, you maybe took a bottle of water, and that was it. You know, our bikes didn't have water bottle holders and all that. I mean,
No, you know what my bicycle had? My bicycle actually had a laundry clip with a playing card on it, so it sounded like I had mufflers on my bike.
oh, there you had drag pipes on it. Yeah, we did that with baseball cards.
Oh, okay.
And looking back now, that was a pretty stupid thing because
Yeah.
a lot of those baseball cards are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, no kidding. So, well, hey, man, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And dude, enjoyed talking to you. I look forward to talking to you more. And hopefully someday we'll sit together and drink some coffee and enjoy a good cigar, man.
Absolutely, brother. I've had a great time. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, man, absolutely. And if there's anything that we can do for you guys as far as your group, your McAuliffe meet and greet, shoot me a message. We'll promote it. We'll put links on the website. We'll take care of you, man.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. I know Paul and I are looking forward to it. You know, I've got a lot of guys in this area that are definitely going to come and check it out. You know, and I think they're really going to be impressed with the McAuliffe line as much as I was.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a friend of mine that gave me my first couple of McAuliffe cigars, and I can't thank him enough. You know, he was really generous with that. And, you know, I really look forward to the whole thing, you know, being an ambassador, you know, and you know, the company as a whole, you know, right from the top on down, are just a great group of guys and gals that just, you know, they really put their effort into, you know, maintaining a fantastic cigar line, of which I have no doubt is going to continue to grow and flourish and be successful.
Oh, I agree 100%. We always say the thing about McAuliffe is they create a great experience for a cigar smoker, and they have a cigar for everyone. And that's not just blending, but that's price point to price point, and from palate to palate, they make a cigar for everyone.
100% agree there. I think if I was to suggest even a new cigar smoker to try a McAuliffe, I would absolutely have him try the La Crema.
Oh, yeah, great smoke, man. Great smoke. And I'll tell you another smoke for some new guys that, you know, they don't want to spend the, you know, $10 a stick. The McAuliffe Torsador is in the neighborhood of about $4.20 to about $4.80, depending on if you get the box press or the torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, dude, if you can't afford a $4.20 cigar, you probably should be doing something other than smoking cigars.
True. I 100% agree. You should be back down there with me smoking them Crater Jacks again.
Right, man. Right. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you being on the show, and you have a great evening, man, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks a lot. I sure do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, Mike. Take care. All right, guys, welcome back from the interview. Anyway, let's get to this week's Luxury Cigar Club winner. And you know what? You know it's almost time.
Yeah.
I'm checking the mail already. 'Cause
You
what
are
is
the
it?
only one.
Yes.
I got my email the other day, said you have a
Oh, did you get it?
Yes.
You got the email saying
Yeah.
it's coming?
Yes.
Nice. Hey, so let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Do you still have sticks from your last box?
Nope, I smoked the
Oh,
last one.
good.
You don't want me to
Man, because I can't make it more than a week and a half, and I'm in there. You know what I mean? Because it's funny, because a lot of times those are cigars that I've never smoked before.
Yes.
So they're just like calling my name
yes,
every time I open the humidor.
Rob.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Then they get like, raw.
well, it's like I open there, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to smoke those yet. I'm saving them. And every time they're like, smoke me. So anyway, I can't wait till they come. It's like
Yes.
Christmas every month.
Yes.
So if you're not a member, go by the link on our website. Go by there, sign up for their platinum. It's $60. I did the research after we got our last box.
Sure did.
It was $78, and that's
Yes.
Texas prices.
Texas price, not California.
Poor guys.
Man,
Man, if you're in California, our hearts go out to you, and that's for many reasons.
Especially after that conversation with Junior.
Oh, yeah.
And the way he told us about the price places, man, I was like, oh my goodness, man.
So we are blessed in Texas as a cigar community.
Yeah.
You know, so many states are just raping.
Yes, yeah,
You know,
it's bleeding you dry.
Oh, it's crazy. In fact, I saw a article, I believe it was last week, in Nebraska, just passed a cigarette tax of like 46%. And not only did they do that on the cigarettes, they passed it on to the cigars.
Man, that's highway
So,
robbery,
like
man.
we were talking earlier, sign up for Cigar Rights of America. Stand up for your rights.
If you don't, you can't say anything, man.
Yeah, I mean-
and you limit our voice too, because it's more than just me and Rob and the people that are part of Cigar Rights right now. It's
Right.
more than just us.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. If you're living in a state, say like California, where the taxes, I think, is like 75%,
Good Lord.
don't think they won't raise it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because it's 75, no way they're going to raise it. No, that's not true.
Yep.
They got their foot in the door. Mm-hmm. They're going to just keep kicking it until it just falls down.
That's correct.
And then we can't smoke.
Nope. You can't
I mean,
afford it.
if
Yeah.
if the tax was 75% here, I'd be homeless.
Because you can still go smoke.
You know what I mean? So anyway, hey guys, this week's Luxury Cigar Club winner is Bryant Anderson. So congratulations, Brian. We will
Brian,
send
yeah.
you a link to their website, and you'll use a code that we send you. Sign up for the platinum. They'll send you the free box, and congratulations. You're
Yes.
this week's Luxury Cigar Club winner.
Congratulations, Brian. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
So anyway, let's talk about the McAuliffe Ambassador Program.
Yes.
We talk about it every week. I don't understand how you could not be a member already if you're listening to this show. You know what I
True.
mean?
True. Very true.
I mean,
that's all we
and
talk
you know
about.
what? I got a little surprise coming for you as far as the ambassador goes. I'm not going to tell you what
They
it
gonna
is.
change your number?
No. Anyway, I got a little surprise coming for you.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
you're not liking that, are you?
No. I'm giving you that rock eyebrow right now.
That's my Jack Nicholson look. So anyway, we have a link on our website. Go by there. Check out the McAuliffe Ambassador Program. They send you a coin with your own number on it. They send you a handwritten certificate. And then you'll join up with the Facebook club,
Yes.
the membership of the ambassadors for McAuliffe. And they do tons of cool things
Yes,
with
they
their ambassadors.
Yes, they do. They treat us well.
Yeah, they really do. And we like to have the ambassadors on the show. It's funny because I was talking to a couple of barrel burners on the show, and they were also McAuliffe ambassadors.
I'm trying.
So, I mean, they're big.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So we love being a part of it, and we hope that you'll sign up too.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, before we go, I wanted to talk a minute about our home shop. Because if you guys are ever passing through Abilene, you got to stop off at the Leaf.
Got to.
It's on North 3rd and Pine, and Google it. It's the Leaf, and it's the only premium cigar shop in Abilene, and they have a walk-in humidor that has tons of cigars. I mean,
Yes.
you'll find something that you're going to love in
Most
that
definitely.
humidor.
Yes, most
I find
definitely.
something that I love in there daily.
Yes,
daily.
yes.
So anyway, go by there. Jay and Scott are there every day during the morning. On the evening, you got Dwayne. On Friday night, you got Deb.
yeah.
And so they have a great staff. They're very friendly, very knowledgeable. So go by there and see Jay and Scott. Tell them we said hello. Tell them we sent you. You know, Jay has got the biggest heart
He does.
of anybody
man.
I know.
He does. And it's just not.
He makes me feel guilty because he's such a good-hearted guy.
It's not hard to make you feel guilty, bro. The Duke Blue Devil makes you feel guilty.
Oh,
man.
Anyway, I guess that's about wraps it up.
Yeah, yes,
so
it does. It was a good
till next time.
Keep smoking.